Growing Up Trans, Story Time, Part 2. So at that tender age of 7 or 8 that I was talking about, where my grandmother asked me about whether I was one of those dykes back in the day, I wasn't able to answer that question because, like I said, I knew I was different, but I didn't think that was the difference that I was. But mentally, that was kind of hard because, like I said, my mom wouldn't buy me the clothes that I felt comfortable in because I never really felt comfortable in tight clothes. I didn't feel comfortable in dresses. I didn't want to wear that stuff. But because I was born the gender that I was forced to wear them clothes. And because of that, it kind of built up some anger within me. I walked around angry a lot as a kid. I got into a lot of fights. I didn't know how to explain where the anger was coming from or why the anger was there. I just knew I was always angry. So whether therapy or something like that would have worked, I can't say that it would, because I've also always been like a private person. I keep things to myself. So it was, I don't know how it would have come about, me to making that determination as to who I really believed myself to be at that age to fight through the anger. I do know, however, that I went to my mom more than once with questions like, hey, are you sure I was born a female? I don't feel like a female. Questioning things about my body. I'm not built like a female. The women in my family, hefty. Hefty up top, hefty up bottom. I was just there. Like, I felt like I was built to be a boy. When I looked in the mirror, I seen a boy, but everybody and their mama kept calling me a girl, kept calling me she. And that's what angered me, because I didn't know how to express the fact that I didn't agree with the terminologies that was used when describing me. And that was a young age. I promise you, this was before I was like 10 or 11 years old. I was questioning whether I was really a girl. So it comes early, at least in my story it does. I can't really compare my story to others. I don't know how their story may go, but background for me, by the age of 10, I had asked so many questions that proved that mentally I was not understanding why I was so different from everyone else. But I have no way of knowing if I would have been able to communicate that at that age in order to express in a way that will be taken seriously, I'll say it like that, how I felt different outside of just asking the questions. But the older I got and the more it became clear, I will say it made it easier for me to go back to my mom and be like, remember this? Remember I kept asking you this? Remember that? Well, now that I'm grown, I think this is the conclusion that I've come up with. And no, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. I'll continue with the story time to take you through the path that I took and the obstacles that I came through or experienced with my family with coming out and the steps and finding myself and all of that. But it wasn't easy, but it made it make sense to me that my childhood was kind of like those caution signs, like, hey, I'm asking these questions. And now, as an adult, those questions made sense to me. Thank you for listening.